On this episode of Long Riders Radio, we're going to talk to someone who's got a 4-digit IBA number. Wait, you can have a 4-digit IBA number? Well, coming up! Support for Long Riders Radio comes from Black Widow Pro. Black Widow Pro has power sports carriers, ramps, lift tables, and more to easily move or work on every toy in your garage. From dirt bikes to cruisers up to ATVs and UTVs. Long Riders Radio listeners can save 15% on their order by using coupon code BIKE, that's B-I-K-E, over at blackwidowpro.com. Black Widow Pro, inspired by passion. Well, hey there everyone, Justin here. Boy, it's been a busy month. Just finished putting on the West Coast 66 rally, which, boy, do I have newfound respect for every rally master out there. But the rally, I would say, was successful. We had a small but very competitive group of riders that signed up and ran the rally. Big congratulations goes out to Carrie Miller of Seattle. She put together quite a route and figured out many of the different puzzles that I had thrown in there. So looks like we're going to probably do this again. Looking like, kind of the first part of the summer, maybe latter part of spring for next year. You'll be sure to hear about it here if we do go ahead with this, but looking good at this point. So for this episode, we're going to talk with Bill Norris, who, as I said in the intro, had a 4-digit Iron Butt Association number coming into this last 2021 Iron Butt Rally. Definitely had the lowest non-3-digit number of anyone out there, and boy, I think you'll find out Bill is a pretty interesting guy, and definitely did this on his own terms. So I hope you'll enjoy this episode, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Well, on the line tonight, we have the person who started the last Iron Butt Rally with the smallest non-3-digit number of anyone in the rally. It was Mr. Bill Norris, and he had a very interesting rally, and I'm thrilled to talk to him about it. Bill, welcome to Long Riders Radio. Thank you, Justin. I'm really glad to be here. All right. Well, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, oh crud, where do I start? Married, 56 years old. Just had my birthday, just before the rally. Got 2 wonderful kids still at home. By trade, and I know we'll go over this in the LD dozen, I am a locksmith and safe technician by trade.
Oh, cool.
Which means I get to open up safes and rekey your house.
Okay, so total non sequitur here. Do you ever watch a YouTube channel called The Lockpicking Lawyer?
He is on my subscriptions.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, pick a little tight on one. Got some counter. Yeah.
For anyone who's for anyone who, even if you're not into locks at all, it's an amazing channel because he'll pick a lock and he does it all in one take, and all you see is his hands. You don't see any other part of him. Just a phenomenal YouTube channel. So anyway, back to the motorcycling. So you decided after. Well, okay, let's start with this question. When did you become a member of the Iron Butt Association?
April of 2000.
Okay, so it took you 21 years to decide that you wanted to do the Iron Butt Rally.
No, I made that decision very early on. It's just life got in the way.
Okay, fair enough. So, so you made the decision early on. Life got in the way. What made this year special?
I got up the nerve to ask my wife. No, she's been really supportive of me doing this. I had the bike when we got married 19 years ago. Actually, the first 10 years, I was just there.
Yeah.
It wasn't until about 2010 that I put in my first rally that I thought I can do this stuff. And from there, I just kept doing more and more rallies. Until finally I'm like, it's time.
Yeah.
It's time for me to put my hat in. So I went for it, put it in, and here I am.
Yeah. Okay. So had you ever been to a IBR start before, or was this your first experience even with that?
In the start, I've not been to one. I did go to the finish in 2015.
Okay.
But mainly because I had a friend that was also riding it for the first time then.
All right.
That would be Christopher Ross.
Oh, yeah. Patreon supporter, Chris Ross.
There you go. Yes, he is.
So what'd you think? You roll into Provo, and I mean, the start, in my opinion, is really where the show is. I mean, the finish is kind of everyone gets around and sings Kumbaya together, but the start is really where the craziness is. What'd you think about that?
I think they did a great job getting us started. Always good facilities. As the event, Lisa and that crew put on just a wonderful, well-oiled machine. I got there on Thursday, so I had a couple of days to kind of explore the town and visit with folks that were there. Didn't really go on the bike much because traffic in Provo was just terrible. And it was hot. Yeah, it was 109 on the way up in Moab, and I knew I was going to have to be in some heat on the way out. So I was like, I want to conserve myself for that.
Yeah. All right, so you get to Provo. Well, let's talk about how you got to Provo, because not only did you take your sweet time to decide you wanted to do the Iron Butt Rally, but you had a very interesting motorcycle you chose to do it on, I would say. So what made the 1997 Kawasaki Vulcan 500 the right motorcycle for you and the Iron Butt Rally?
This is my first motorcycle. And we'll do this in the LD dozen. Yeah. But I got this when I was between wives, and she really spoke to me. And I say she because my bike is a feminine personality. And we have had conversations, and I just never felt a need to change.
Yeah,
I added this and that and the other for comfort, and I just caught the LD bug fairly early. Even when I was riding with some Harley guys, I was the one that was just like, let's go more.
So for those of you who don't know what a Kawasaki Vulcan is, a V-twin. It's a cruiser style. Oh, it's not.
It's an inline twin.
Inline twin. Okay.
We're going to get even more so. It is the Ninja 500 engine detuned.
Oh, interesting. But it's still a cruiser style. I know that.
It is a cruiser style.
Yeah. So do you have a windshield on it or any kind of fairing?
Of course.
Okay, good. I was gonna say, if you rode the bike naked, that's impressive.
No, my very first trip was a 600-mile day. I had the bike less than a month, and she had handlebars. I did have a bubble shield on my open face helmet, but other than that, nothing.
Oh, wow.
Bone stock. Yeah, I was hurting.
So one of that bike made the list. I don't know if you know this or not, but when I was going on the big list of Iron Butt Rally first and stuff like that, you are now on the list of the smallest motorcycle to complete the Iron Butt Rally. You're number 9, I think, along with 15 entries from Kurt Warden. But
yeah.
But that's pretty impressive. I mean, how did it do? I mean, over the 11 days. I mean, is it just like you've been riding it for the last 20 years? Or I mean, how did it do?
The bike did wonderful. I did have one issue where one of the spark plugs fouled out in some heavy rain. Mm-hmm. When I got back, I found out what the real problem was, but I stopped at O'Reilly's, picked up a set of spark plugs, put them in the parking lot, and kept going.
Nice. Yeah, that's one thing about those Kawasaki's just run forever, and that's just they're phenomenal motorcycles. So one of the things I always ask a rookie when somebody who was a rookie, I should say, when they're talking about wanting to do the Iron Butt Rally is, what's your goal? And so did you have one, and what was it, if you did?
My goal was to finish. That was it. Finisher status was my goal.
Cool.
And with my pep squad behind me, and by the way, my pep squad was both Christopher Ross and Steve Akins. So yeah, they reeled me in from a couple of decisions that might have put me close to either penalty points. I never went so far as to push it to the limit as far as the end of the penalty window. I didn't want to do that. Yeah. So there was I left some points out there just to make sure I got to the finish in time.
That's a good call. That's what I did on my first Iron Butt. Is I just wanted to finish, and I finished about the same as you did. I mean, in the kind of mid 40s, 50s. I think I finished 50th, and you finished 47th. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just
43rd.
Oh, 43rd. Sorry. Yeah, you were that. Yeah. Well, you were 47th on leg, or no, actually, you were never 40. You were 37th on leg 1, 49th on leg 2, and 43rd on leg 3. But I have to show you this. So you were rider number 53.
Yeah.
I think that is a very good number to have because
I love it.
2019, that was my rider number. So you held rider or flag 53 very well. I'm very proud to see that I was looking at your score and was like, hey, I recognize that number. So one thing you didn't do that I thought was very good is you didn't get mentioned in the ride report until day 11, which is pretty darn good because that means that whoever the scribe was needs to talk about everyone at some point during the rally, and now they're just trying to find something to talk to you about or talk about you. So good job on that. That was
Thank you. I'm sure that was another goal, is to stay out of the daily reports.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the ride itself. So looking at your well, okay, you talked about that you pretty much did it sounds like you did a fairly conservative route, and I'm guessing it was a fairly conservative route, especially on leg 1.
Mm-hmm.
And so talk about that. How did that route, you get released from the start and now you're on your own. That adrenaline rush has now died off a little bit. What were you thinking as you continue? Because you went up to the Golden Spike to do the photo bonus first, which is always a zoo. Talk about that leg and how you did.
On that one, like I said, I did conservative. Ran straight north to Ace in the Hole. Picked up some place bonuses along the way, and I've got an interesting story about Ace in the Hole also. That was the end of my day on the first day, and I was tired. I've been pushing hard. There was wildlife everywhere.
Yeah.
Twisty mountain roads. There had been a fire, so smoke was heavy in the air. So I got to Ace in the Hole, and I thought, I'm gonna just lay down here, take me a nap. So I laid down for a little bit. About 5 minutes later, Mike Riley rides up, and I'd already located a hotel, but I didn't have with the critters running around. I just didn't feel comfortable at that point.
Yeah.
But Mike come up, talked to him a minute. He's got some bright headlights, so I was going to follow him over to this hotel. And by the time we get ready to roll, here comes Wendy Crockett. She comes up too. So me and Mike take off. It's 40 miles away. We get into cell range. I call it up. It's a 2-room cabin. So I'm like, this is good. So we get there. By this time, Wendy's caught up to us, and I pull into the cabin area there, and he and Wendy run down the road a couple hundred yards and stop, and they chat. Well, Mike decides that he's just going to keep on running that night. So, okay. So I get checked in, get settled in, I lay down, I hear a bike pull back up. So I'm like, okay, Mike changed his mind. Well, look, it's not Mike, but it's a BMW, and it looks like it may be in rally trim. It's dark, I'm tired. So I invite the guy in. So he comes in, starts putting his stuff together, and I ask him what his rider number is. And he starts giving me his phone number. I'm like, are you in Iron Butt Rally? He's like, no, I'm at the end of the saddle store. I've been trying to find lodging for the last 2 hours.
Oh my God. Well, so you were smart to get the hotel in that area. So Ace in the Hole, I should point out, is the Minuteman silos. That was the bonus. It was on the side of the road. And as I was going in there on day 2, I was coming in from the north, and I saw what I thought was a person on the side of the road. And then once the person jutted up the cliff, I realized it was a black bear. So probably good that you decided to not be sleeping outdoors too much in that area.
True. Very true. Next morning, this guy, he saw me off. It was a beautiful morning. Caused some construction, probably the same construction that got Al Greenwood on his first leg. But I kept seeing this couple over and over during that day, and that was the what was their names? Doug.
Jacobs.
Yes, and Doug and Liz, and we got to see each other so much. I called Lisa. I said, "We are not a team," and was reminded about the definition of team. So
and it doesn't matter how much you call her. If they decide you're a team, you're a team.
Yeah. Just picked up everything off of, what was that, I-94 through there. And my last bonus of the day was going to be the Greyhound bus terminal in Hibbing, Minnesota.
Yep.
And I knew I was going to get there after dark, but I thought I'll go ahead, locate the bonus, grab a hotel, pick it first thing in the morning. So I went in there, found the bonus, and started looking for a hotel, and there's no vacancies at all. I make some phone calls. They say, "Did you check the roadway in?" I said, "That was the first place I checked." So I found me a nice quiet place behind the shopping center. Laid down. It was bright. Frogs were croaking big time. Kind of soothing. And I laid down. Well, a few minutes later, I hear a car pull up. It's the cops checking me out. Well, on my windshield, I have a placard I've clipped to the windshield that says, "Proclaims I'm being a safe motorcyclist because I'm sleeping. Please let me rest." So when the cop walked up there, she looked at it, and I peeked up, and she smiled. I said, "This is going to do well." So anyway, they let me sleep there. Sometime a little later, it was cool that night, so she brought me a blanket.
Oh, that's nice.
That was very nice. So anyway, got up the next morning, folded the blanket, and I brought extra socks, one for each day, so I've always got a nice clean pair of socks. So I left a couple of pair of socks and said, "Give them to a homeless shelter."
Nice.
They're always asking for socks.
Yep.
When I got to that bonus, Todd Lips was just leaving. So we said hi to each other and found out from his ride report that he had spent the night outside also. From there, went on, where did I go? Just kept going south. Went over into Iowa. There's 2-lane roads, kind of a time suck because the locals don't do the speed limit. And there's no places to pass. But I got the last place I was planning to get on that night was the Les Paul guitar. Les Paul.
Yeah.
I can't remember where it was, but going to get there right at dark. So I grabbed a hotel there. And there was another rider came blowing by me about that time. I want to say Gallant.
Oh, Steve Gallant.
Yeah. I'm not sure if that was him, but we were going to the same place. I called a hotel about 10 miles before it because I knew it was going to be dark when I got there. No sense in wasting time. When I got at the hotel, I checked the spot tracker for everybody, and there was somebody nearby at a hotel. I'm like, I wonder if that's him. I talked to him later. He said, "Yeah, I got it, but I wanted to be sure." So he got it the next morning too. Yeah. Went through Chicago rush hour traffic. That was a pucker.
Yeah. So how'd that work out? Because that was a pain in the butt for me.
I survived.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about it. I've been through Chicago one time before at about 1 o'clock in the morning. It was a lot better then. Go ahead.
Oh, I say I've heard it's just as bad no matter what time what time you go through. It doesn't matter, but yeah, that was not fun. And added that's about when the rain started too. So I was soaking wet when I was going through it.
Didn't get any rain until I was just about to the checkpoint, I think. My last bonus on leg one was the Michigan roadside table. And I love the description on there. I wonder how long till a biker took a nap on it. and that picnic table bonus is kind of special to me because as I go traveling around, I mark on my GPS while the rest areas and picnic areas are on the highways I've been to, and I put them in a point of interest file.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. And that's just something. I started with 150. I'm up to about 800 now.
Oh, cool. Okay, so you have now arrived in the outskirts of Indianapolis in Carmel, Indiana. It is pouring down rain, and you're going into scoring. Looks like you didn't have any penalty points. Did you? Did everything go well in scoring for you?
Sailed right through it.
Nice.
Nothing left on the table. I wasn't really nervous because I was real comfortable about what I'd taken pictures of and presented. It was a real smooth scoring process.
Good. And so you got to bed early, I'm assuming, and got a good night's sleep? Okay. And then you got to get up at 4 a.m. with 79 of your closest friends to go downstairs, have a burrito for breakfast, or it was a breakfast sandwich, I think, there, and get the rally information for leg 2. And so, tell me about once you got that new rally pack, what was going through your mind?
I've never driven or ridden in the East, so I was really concerned about traffic that I heard about. Saw just basically, again, pick off the bonuses I knew that to make finisher status. Picked up, went over to, first thing I did was go up to Cleveland, get the Superman bonus, and that was a torrential rain up there.
Yes, it was. I followed you.
Mixed with stop and go traffic.
Yep.
Went down to Dayton and picked up the bicycle shop for the Wright brothers. Went over to Pittsburgh, the Salk virus in the filling station. I saw you at the filling station.
That's okay. It's like I thought I saw you at some point along here, but yeah.
Kept going. See, I was dark. Where did I go on that one?
Well,
I cannot remember.
We must have been very close because I followed a very similar route. The only difference on that leg is I went to the Indiana, the grave site in Indiana first, and then I went to kind of did what you were doing there. Yeah. So
was that Bauer?
Yeah, Bowser.
Okay, I got that one on leg 1.
Yeah, so we probably were very close to one another, and that torrential downpour, I can attest to that because I was just soaking wet, and I ended up stopping at a gas station, going in, and I was gonna buy some garbage bags, and the lady just gave me some, so it was really nice. Cut them up, took some tape, or changed my socks, put new socks on with the garbage bags, taped them up, and then put them in my boots, and so I could have dry feet for a little while. And yeah, that saved my bacon there because my feet were just soaking wet, and I'd gotten them dried out from the day before, and then they were just immediately soaking again. So good times there.
Oh yeah.
So. All right, so so I'm guessing you probably, so this is where we kind of split ways here because I ended up going up into upstate New York a little bit more, and I think looks like you went down kind of into the mid-Atlantic area from there.
Start making my way south pretty quick.
Okay.
Wheeling, West Virginia Bridge?
Yeah.
Now that was, I got to back up a second. Last Father's Day a year ago, my wife and kids presented me with brand new Garmin Zumo XT so that I could practice with it and get comfortable with it for the next year. So a regular GPS I don't think would have made that route because of all the road closures. Waze and Google probably would have been good, but I've got a little bitty phone. I wouldn't have been able to see it. I'm on a budget, man.
Yeah.
You see the bike I ride, I'm on a budget.
So the XT got you through the construction and everything? I mean,
yes. Yeah. It got some weird, that one did pretty good. There was another one later, the My Lady bonus. That was in Central Virginia.
Okay.
We'll come back to some other stuff, but I looked at my track on that and I'm like, holy cow. It almost looks like doodling. And the next night, I was going through Maryland. You talked about hotels. And Maryland, I started calling ahead, and no hotels. So that one I was nice enough. I found a rest area on the side of the road and was able to just lay down for a couple hours and get some refresh. And I thought, my next stop is Washington, D.C. Let's get there before they wake up.
Yeah.
And I rolled into D.C. about 4:30. To get the DC bonus, which is that placard for the atomic clock. And then I went and picked up the airmail. By this time, DC is starting to wake up. And the last one was over at Voice, over across the river.
Yeah. All right. So you said the Wright brothers one was an interesting item for me because it was very obvious to me that it was quite apparent that Jeff put that bonus there with just enough time to go there in the morning and get back to the checkpoint in Huntsville. And so that was the thing I was kind of going back and forth on is, do I try to go there and try to get back? And I was almost late I was almost into penalty, which I wasn't thrilled about on leg 1. So I was really thinking about, okay, I do not want to get in late on leg 2. And I'll get into that on my ride report on decisions I wish I would have made in this rally. But yeah, it was not, that was that bonus was kind of a time suck, just because you had to get all the way out to the Outer Banks, and the traffic out there is just terrible.
Let me tell you about that one.
Yeah.
I told you I was at Milady, and I think it was about 3 o'clock, a little after that. Went straight down there and got into town about 4:45, I think, and then hit dead stop traffic.
Yeah.
They got a 3-mile bridge going out there to the Outer Banks. It was packed, and it was just creeping along, and I am sweating. And I'm calling my buddies and just venting.
Yeah.
I see John Coons come by pushing his way through traffic, and I thought, I'm going to follow him. And I followed his lead there, finally got across the bridge, and we got there. We pulled in the gate 12 minutes before it closed. When it ran out there, snapped the picture 7 minutes, and we got out right at 5.
Wow. Yeah, because that's the other thing is, once you got there, then it was probably about a quarter to a half a mile of running out to the to the monument itself out in the middle of this field.
Oh yeah, he was mean because 1, 2, and 3 were right there.
Yeah,
the fourth one was way over there.
I'm sure that was by design. But, all right, so you got there. Did you end up staying out in that area, or did you come back?
Nope. I went back to Virginia and got the Mercury test capsule.
Okay.
Went down, spent the night in eastern North Carolina.
Okay.
And then from there went on down to picked up South Carolina bonus, which was the typewriter. Went on into Atlanta, got the Georgia bonus.
How was that?
For the I used my express lane toll tag a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was an expensive trip.
Atlanta traffic is not. It's not quite Chicago level, but it's still not great.
No.
Yeah.
At least it moved.
Yeah.
And they're spread out enough where you've got some lanes to work with.
Yeah.
Once I got in there, I was originally going to go down and pick up the Alabama bonus down. Where was it? Was kind of in southern Alabama, and I knew I was going to be tight on time, so I went back north and was going to come across that hump going in from Georgia, going through Tennessee, and then back over to Alabama, and caused some traffic up there. And when I got back, I started looking. I came within a mile of the bonus in eastern Tennessee, right there in that little squiggly. And I'm like, holy cow. But pulled in, plenty of time to spare. That's another one of those, don't want to get in too late.
Yeah.
Don't want to get in too early either, but I was very comfortable with that.
Yeah. On leg 2, I wouldn't worry about getting in too early on leg 2, really. But on leg 3, so I have some questions about your leg 3. So the first one is, you did not claim the flight bonus on leg 2. You waited until leg 3 to claim the flight bonus, even though you had done everything you needed to do on leg 2. Was that a I forgot to put it down on the score sheet, or was there some strategy involved in? I
was kicking myself because I was processing leg 3, and all of a sudden it just came to me because on leg 3 we had that big pretty Saturn V rocket that was sitting beside the hotel, so I took some time just to kind of go over everything.
That was going to be my next question. So, but
we'll come back to it.
Come back to that.
So as I'm going through it, I'm like, oh my goodness, that wasn't the words I used, but oh my goodness, I have forgot. I left those points out there after working so hard to get it. But there's nothing I can do about it now. So just go on. It didn't really plan into my strategy at that point. But somewhere on day 2 of leg 3, it got going through my mind. That's on the rally-wide list. Could I still claim it? So I made a phone call to Lisa and Jeff, and they said, absolutely. So I went on adrenaline for the next hour.
Nice.
I was so happy.
That's awesome. Well, okay, so my next question to you that you kind of touched on there a second ago, was why you chose. So one of the kind of interesting things about leg 3 was there was a fairly high bonus or high point bonus right next to the hotel, but the catch was it was not valid, I think, until 10 o'clock in the morning.
Noon. They said afternoon.
Afternoon. Okay, so it was it was a long wait, and I thought about it. I thought, okay, can I go get something else and come back and get it? And it just didn't end up working out for me. What made you want to stay and get that as your first bonus for leg 3?
Kind of like you, I couldn't really make it work to leave and then come back when that was the only thing in the area.
Yeah.
To speak of. What was even more fun on that when there was a small crowd of us there waiting to get that bonus, and to make sure that I had my motorcycle and the complete rocket and complete motorcycle in there. You know, that rocket's tall. Mm-hmm. Motorcycles aren't.
Yeah.
So I've framed everything. I am laying on the ground on the asphalt here, and I'm looking up like this, fixing to snap the picture, and I hear a voice saying, "Hold that pose." It's Jeff taking a picture of me, taking a picture of the bonus.
That's awesome. I was like, this is when the big money rally using the mirror might come into play. You could just put your mirror up there with the bike in the shot then. And so your leg 3, it's interesting. You kind of started out completely different, but you ended doing very similar route to me. So you went up after that. You went up to the Oak Ridge, which I thought was a beautiful ride up there on that road.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And then
Eastern Tennessee.
Yeah. And then where'd you go from there?
From there, let me back up a little bit and kind of tell you my strategy.
Yeah.
There were several combos on this leg, orbit, sub, and I got to looking. You know, there were some pretty high points.
Yep.
But it's also in the east with a lot of potential traffic. And I heard later, you know, there was a tropical storm kind of brewing over there too, and I had not heard about, but made me go with the decision to get the fishing combo and the Nirvana combo. So that's what I based it around, were those two.
Okay. Yeah, and so it looks like you went kind of into into Louisiana, then over to Arkansas, and then kind of back into Texas. And then from there, we actually followed a very similar route, going across Texas and then down into New Mexico, and looks like you went to Arizona and then back up from there. So when did you actually end up getting in? Did you go till all night on the last night, or did you?
I came in about midnight on the last night. I do want to bring back a couple. You asked me where I went from from Oak Ridge.
Yeah.
I just basically hauled it all the way across Tennessee to get the LP bonus there outside of Brinkley, Arkansas. Mm. It's a daylight only, and the rally pack says, I glanced at it. It said, no, walk 600 feet to the bonus. Well, I get there. It's a dead end road, and the waypoint is about 600 feet to my left. So I grab my flag, and it looks like a forest road. Of course, Arkansas doesn't have those kind of forest roads, but it's dead straight. Walk over a wire gate, and I walk and I walk and I walk, and there's nothing there. So what's going on? So I make my way back to the bike, reread the rally pack, and it says, walk 600 feet down the boardwalk, and I'll turn to the other way, and there's the boardwalk 30 feet to my right. I'm like, yep, my official IBR salute.
So that's awesome. It's only funny because I've done just as crazy a thing, and just like, oh, what was I thinking there? So
next,
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say my next one I went to was over in Hot Springs with the movies with sound.
Yeah.
It was a marker that was embedded in the pavement, and I lived in Hot Springs for over a year once, so I kind of knew the area, and it's beautiful riding through there too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, because the beautiful riding kind of dries up a little bit as you start heading across Texas, in my opinion, where it's just miles and miles and nothing but miles and miles, and and it gets a little nicer once you get into New Mexico, but it's still pretty barren. So you get your fix of good riding while you could, I guess.
Exactly.
So you said you got in around midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Were you feeling pretty good about things at that point? I mean,
I was sad that it was stopping.
Yeah.
I wanted to keep going.
Yeah.
I really did.
I always feel like I'm by the kind of midway. Well, let me ask you this. This is how it always feels like for me. Leg 1 just seems to drag on, and leg 2 goes pretty quick, and leg 3 just seems, it's 5 days. It seems like it's shorter than leg 1, and I'm so in the groove of things by the time leg 3 rolls around. It's just like I'm just ready to keep going. Like just
yeah. Now the last little bit of it, because the from my last bonus back up to Provo, I followed the exact same road I did getting to the start from home. Mm-hmm. So I had about 400 miles the exact same road. And eastern Utah is not, it's nice, but not at night.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I did that at 2 a.m. I went over. So the only little difference I did is I went over to Phoenix too, and so it was 109 degrees going through Phoenix. And 4 hours later, I was putting on my heated gear as I was up in the mountains outside Flagstaff and getting into what was it? Starts with a K. Kanab in Utah. So yeah, that was a very unpleasant ride through a very nice area, but very unpleasant ride for me. So, but you said you felt decently good. You were ready to keep going when the start banquet, when the finisher banquet starts up. Mm-hmm. Did you finish about where you thought you would?
Yes, really I did. I'd like to have been a little bit better, but the fact that I wasn't, the fact that my name was called was always great.
Yeah.
And the fact that my name was not the first one called was even better.
I think it was who was it? It was Troy. When Troy he switched motorcycles in 2017 and ended up coming in last place. He's like, my number's still higher than next year's the first number given out next year, and like that's exactly the right way to look at it.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right. So now that you've done this, do you feel the need to do it again?
Yes.
Good answer.
It's just not going to be next time.
Not going to be next time. Really?
It's not, and that's not my choice. I've got family commitments to take care of.
Well, that's a pretty darn good reason right there. So you're thinking like a 2025 would be your next run? Okay,
25 or 27.
All right, here is the $1 million question. Will it be the same Kawasaki Vulcan motorcycle if it's a 2025 or 2027?
Yes.
Nice.
I want to see how well she does.
Perfect. Yeah.
I think I held her back because we could have gone out. I told you about some bonuses I left out just to make sure I got into the checkpoint. I might be a little more aggressive on my routing.
Well, that's the way I've kind of taken a progressive approach to every time I've done this. I mean, this is my third one now. And the first time it was exactly like you. I just want to finish. And then in 2019, I had a horrendous first leg and then really started pushing a little bit more in the second and third leg and had a lot of fun. And this one, I made a poor decision on leg 2, but I was planning with like, let's see what I can do with just the minimum amount of sleep that I can handle. And I felt pretty good towards the end of it. I mean, it just, like I said, if I'd made a different decision on leg 2 about a couple of things, it would have made a little bit of a difference in the end, put it that way. But yeah, I don't know. It gets in your blood, I think, and just I'm ready for the next one already. I mean, I really am. Oh yeah. Just I can't. Like, when's it starting again? I'm like, oh, it's not 2 years.
Let me get this one paid off on the credit cards
first. There you go. Yeah. So did you keep track of all your costs for it, or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just ask you this: would the 11 days, 11,000 miles, $11,000 would be fairly accurate for your costs as well?
I told you I'm on a budget.
Okay, so you got it. You did it for less.
Counting entry fees and stuff, substantially less.
Nice. Well, I would say that the $11,000 really has to include the bike. I mean, in a lot of it.
Nah.
But not for you. You had the bike paid off.
Bike's paid off. She's been restored once, and she's actually on her second engine, third rebuild.
Oh, wow.
Engines are lasting about 100,000.
So how many miles do you have on it?
She finished the rally with 243.
Wow. That is great.
So we're pushing 250,000 miles on her.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we get into the LD dozen, congratulations on your ride. That is a monumental undertaking, and anyone who finishes that rally deserves just a ton of respect. And you definitely, I mean, you did not do it on the easy way, I can tell you that. So congratulations, and you should definitely something to be proud
Justin. Thank you, Justin. I will say that over the years, I have made her probably the most comfortable thing. I have the most comfortable bike in the garage, and the other one's another Kawasaki Vulcan 500.
Wow.
It's just more of a day tripper.
Yeah. Oh, very cool.
It's going to be for my 17-year-old son whenever he finally gets his license.
Nice. All right. Well, as you know, as a listener of the show, we ask each guest the same series of 12 questions. We'll call them the LD dozen, and we'll get them up so I can remember to ask you the correct one. The first one will be very easy for you. What was your first motorcycle and why?
Kawasaki Vulcan 500, 1997 model, and I purchased it used in 99 when I worked at a place that also sold motorcycles. It came in as a trade, and I just kept looking at it. I knew it was a little different, but I asked the owner if I could take it home. Not really a test drive, really a test drive. And while I was riding, I mean, I heard these words: "Take me home, keep me, I'll treat you right."
That's awesome.
That was in June of 1999.
Wow.
And the bike had less than 3,000 miles on it at that point.
I was just going to ask you, how many miles did it have at that point? So 3,000 miles. Wow. So brand new.
Almost.
Yeah.
But
so did you get into motorcycle? I mean, obviously a little later in life then.
I did, but there's a neat story that goes along with this.
Yeah.
When I was a baby, my dad had a Triumph Bonneville TT Special that he had bought from a friend. And he would put me on the tank of this bike, and we would go to town.
Oh, wow.
He said I was still in diapers, to give you an idea how long ago. And I don't consciously remember it, but through my childhood, I had this longing for a motorcycle. In the first grade, I can remember running around the playground with my arms outstretched in front of me, making motorcycle engine noises and scooting my feet to throw up a rooster tail.
That's awesome.
And I've got a grandmother. She showered me with all sorts of things. She never said no to anything I wanted until I said, "Can I have a motorcycle?" And it was emphatic no. No, end of discussion.
Yeah. Okay, so question number 2. Where did you take your first overnight ride?
I'd had the bike about a month, and there was this woman I had. She's a friend. Well, more of it now.
Yeah.
And she lived about 600 miles away, so I thought I'm just going to go surprise her. So no throttle lock, no windshield, no backrest.
God.
Bone stock. I think I had maybe 5,000 miles on the bike at that point, and I took a day ride of over 600 miles on this. Now, mind you, when I got back a few days later, I was hurting.
Yeah.
So my very first Farkle was a throttle lock.
Yeah.
That throttle lock is still on the bike.
Wow.
Simple works.
Yeah, exactly. All right, question number 3. What is your day job? What pays for this budget LD riding habit?
I am a locksmith and safe technician, which means I can rekey your house and open up your safe with permission.
With permission.
Some people
yes.
Some people call me a safe cracker. Yeah.
So have you ever had to pick the lock on your motorcycle to start it?
No.
No.
I have key. I still have the original key. It's very worn.
I bet. Yeah.
I have picked it for practice, but no, I've never had to do that.
But you could probably pretty easily cut your own key for if you need a new one. So.
Oh yeah.
So no excuse if you lose your key to not have a spare. All right. Question number 4. What is your favorite non-motorcycling hobby?
That's a toughie. It is a toughie because I work and play. Probably geocaching, which is it's on the same lines as what we got, and it does take you into some remote areas sometimes. But sometimes I take the motorcycle geocaching.
That's basically what rallying is, in my opinion, is just geocaching on the clock. So
there you go.
Competitive geocaching. What question number 5? What is your favorite road?
I went through these questions before the interview, and I used to have a couple of them, but I have been riding so much now, even they are kind of paling by comparison. North of Hot Springs Village in Arkansas, there's a scenic State Highway 7 that goes for about 30 or 35 miles to Ola. Ola, Arkansas. And it's just, goes through the Ouachita Mountains. So you've got twisties, no switchbacks, but you can make some nice spirited riding on these roads, and it's just beautiful. There's vistas off to one side or the other. It's not a steep road like the $1 Million Highway would be, but it's a very enjoyable road. I haven't ridden it in several years. I need to go back.
Hopefully it's got a little less traffic than the $1 Million Highway does too.
It's been a while, but I think it was good there too. I do remember scraping pegs at about 65 going around one of those curves. I don't do that often.
All right, question number 6. What is your least favorite road?
Anything with sand.
Ah. Not a fan of sand, huh?
Not a fan of sand on a street bike.
Well, at least the Vulcan, you're sitting a little lower, so you can try to grab it if it starts going over. But yeah.
Years ago, I was coming back from a rally. It was before I really got into LD riding, but it was a dirt road that had ruts in it were deep enough. I got off the bike and I was leaning down over the bike to get it through this rut. So, sand.
Yeah.
I hate sand.
So you mentioned that your family got you a new Garmin XT. So for your routing, you're using Basecamp, I'm assuming then?
Yes. I do like to use Google to spot check things if something's kind of questionable. But no, I do pretty much Basecamp.
I've found lately, especially, Basecamp is just not accurate time-wise for me. It is way slow, and I don't think I'm riding that fast. It's just, well, for whatever reason, it's incredibly slow from what I would expect it to be. So anyway, side note there. But question number 8, you may not, this is totally hypothetical because I don't think you're ever going to get another new bike, but if you did get another new bike, what would be the first Farkle you're going to take off your Vulcan and put on the new bike?
That's a good one.
Or buy a new one, maybe new Farkle, maybe. Who knows?
I have to have something old, something new. What borrowed blue? It would probably have to be headlights if the bike or auxiliary lights.
Yeah.
That has been something woefully lacking in Hidalgo. By the way, that's the name of my motorcycle, Hidalgo. And I'll explain later when we come to, or can we explain now?
Yeah, go for it.
Back in 2011, I was coming back from a trip, a business trip, and from North Georgia, and I just got through riding the Tail of the Dragon and Cheryl Hollow Skyway, and I got to thinking, this bike has been so dependable. Now, mind you, this was 10 years ago, and she only had 130,000 on her then, but she's been so dependable. She's not a thoroughbred, and she always gets me home. Never lets me down. And I thought of a movie where there was a horse that did pretty much the same thing with its guy. And I thought, this is the name. She's Hidalgo.
Very cool. So So you mentioned auxiliary lights. Do you have auxiliary lights on your current bike?
Yes. Lighting has always been a little bit weak. Again, my budget. I've got the spots up beside the headlight, which is a Cyclops Adventure version 10 LED, great light. And I've got a couple of LED Rider 10 watts down low on the forks. When they get covered with bugs, they don't do as much as they should.
Well, I imagine too, it's maybe not just a monetary budget, but an electrical budget too probably plays quite a bit into this bike, wouldn't it?
Now that you bring it up, you're correct. The alternator on this bike is 17 amps total, 240 watts.
Wow.
So yeah, I have to dispense with an eyedropper.
Yeah, I bet. Well, I think we've run this one into the ground of what's your current bike and why, so we can probably just skip that one and move on to who made your seat?
Kawasaki.
Interesting.
But it's not off of this bike.
Oh, okay.
It's off a Vulcan, a drifter.
Okay. What's the difference?
The original seat was kind of high in the middle and round on the sides, kind of like you see most cruisers. This one is shaped like a tractor seat. There's actually a dish in it that supports the outside. And I top it with an Airhawk.
Nice, yeah. I'd say that probably. I mean, you say like a tractor seat. That's pretty much what I would consider a Russell Daylong to look like too. It's got a little pocket for your butt to go in, and Bob's your uncle, and everyone's happy. There it is. All right, question number 11. What is your favorite or your most interesting place you've visited on your motorcycle?
Up until this rally, I had one that was my very first bonus on my very first rally, which was the VLA, the very large array over in Socorro, New Mexico, just because. Yeah. But I'm going to add to that, went the first bonus during this year's IBR, Promontory Point. I loved it too, just for the history. But there's my really favorite now is the Michigan bonus, the picnic table.
Oh, really?
Just because I'm keeping a list of all the picnic tables.
Yeah. I love that question just because it gets so many different types of questions from people because everyone takes it just a little bit differently. So that's definitely the first time a picnic table has been listed as the favorite or most interesting. So. All right. Question number 12, last question. How do you pass the time on a long ride?
Your podcast, music, and other podcasts.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Well, Bill, again, congratulations on finishing the Iron Butt Rally. That is something to be proud of and something that can never take away from you. And anything else you want to talk about before I let you go?
I just want to thank you for doing these podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
They keep me entertained. You do a good job. I just want to thank my host so much.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
I need to get back to get on the supporter list for you.
Oh, no. Well, I appreciate everyone who supports, but no one should feel the obligation to do so. So whatever anyone, as long as there's a couple people who can help me pay for the website, that's all I ask.
That's it. Thank you, Justin. All right.
Yeah, thank you. All right, everyone. That is Bill Norris, whose new IBA number is
635.
Congratulations, number 635. And thank you for coming on Long Riders Radio.
Thank you, Justin.
Well, if you'd like to get in contact with me, the best way to do it is to head over to our website, www.longridersradio.com. And a big thank you to Black Widow Pro for their support on this episode. Move, store, or work on your power sports toy with Black Widow Pro carriers, ramps, lift tables, and more. Long Riders Radio listeners can save 15% on their order by using coupon code BIKE, that's BIKE, over at blackwidowpro.com. Black Widow Pro, inspired by passion. And a big thank you to Avraham Azraeli, Matt Hube, Daniel Parks, Lonnie Stevens, and Don Rinker, as well as the other 26 people who support this show on Patreon and help make it possible. Thank you very much. I couldn't do it without you. And as always, we need to thank this show's founder, Mr. Michael Cox. I was talking to Mike the other day on FaceTime and noted what a snazzy new leisure suit he had on. And made a comment about his style choices maybe being maybe a little dated. And he said,
I just never felt a need to change.
Ride safe, everyone.